Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Patterson. A way to spice things up a bit, I'm going to start reviewing games I've Let's Played as a way to, change things up and get a little bit more variety on the channel. And that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to review every game I Let's Play, and I might not Let's Play every game I review. It could be totally different, but as a way to, finish up the series and give it my, give my overall views on the game and what I thought about it, and then a sort of pointage score out of 10. I'm going to start reviewing games and then see how that goes. If it doesn't go very well the first time, then it might not continue. If it does, then, whatever. That's cool. But yeah, so here we go. First off, it's going to be Pokemon Emerald, which is the upgraded version, I guess you could say, of Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. So it's not really its own game. It's more like, it's just an updated version of other games. So that might affect the score, you never know. But anyway, here we go. So, review of Pokemon Emerald. First off, we're going to go over things like the story and the gameplay and other things like that. Alright, so to start things off, we're going to get a bit of history of where the game came from. So, it is the 12th game in the Pokemon video game series in Japan and the 11th in North America. It's an updated version of Ruby and Sapphire, like I said before, and was released in Japan on September 16th, 2004. North America on May 1st, 2005, Australia June 9th, 2005, and Europe finally in October 21st, 2005, so, kind of a year later. The gameplay is similar to Ruby and Sapphire, though it introduces some new features, and, yeah, so it's basically just an updated version of the Ruby and Sapphire games, like Yellow was to Red and Blue, and Crystal was to Silver, I was gonna say Sapphire, Silver and Gold. So, the Pokemon fans knew what to expect when going into Emerald. They knew that it wouldn't be too much different to Ruby and Sapphire, and there would just be an updated thing with new Pokemon, maybe a slightly different plot, and things like that. Some new features like the Battle Frontier, which was new to Emerald, I believe. I think so. If I got that wrong, I'd apologize. But yeah, so they didn't really expect new things, like a totally new plot or new Pokemon or anything. They kind of knew it was just going to be an updated version with some new features, but it did really well in sales anyway. I think it got around 6 million copies sold, and it's still selling now with around 7,000 sold a year in just Japan, so it's still doing very well on its own now, even where the releases of new Pokemon games come out almost every year. So it's a good game in its own right, and you can see from the sales that it's still doing very well. And yeah, so the history of Pokemon Emerald, as you can see, it's done very well. And other reviewers, other critics didn't seem to enjoy it so much, though it did get sort of 7s and 8s. It was said to, it's just like Ruby and Sapphire. There's nothing much different about it. If you played those, and you know what's gonna happen anyway. But hardcore Pokemon fans got it anyway because they wanted to see what was new features and all things like that, so yeah. Alright, so story, and now Pokemon games aren't really known for their story. It's mostly the generic go around the region, gather 8 gym badges, go to the Pokemon League, become the champion, and boom, well done, you're a Pokemon master. But in Ruby and Sapphire, the plot was slightly changed for Pokemon Emerald. Team Magma and Team Aqua feature in this game instead of just one for each. And they are both sort of the bad sides, and they both are battling against each other for supremacy in the region and for their plans to come to fruition. So Team Aqua is battling for more water for the water Pokemon to live in, and Team Aqua is battling for more land for people and Pokemon to grow on. Now this comes to a head at the end of the game where Kyogre and Groudon are having a massive battle at the top of the city, and Rayquaza comes down to sort of split them up and get them to stop fighting and stop causing so much destruction. This is different to Emerald and Ruby. No, fuck. Emerald and Ruby. Sapphire and Ruby, because in Sapphire and Ruby is just the individual Groudon or Kyogre and not both of them. So as you can see, there's some minor changes like that, and, it's some homage to the other games where they both have to battle each other instead of just you battling the one, and you still get to catch Groudon and Kyogre in Ruby, not Ruby, fuck, I keep getting the names mixed up, in Emerald, sorry, but it comes much later in the game, and you can catch Rayquaza like you could in Ruby and Sapphire, I believe, but that is a lot earlier, I want to say. So, as you can see, the front cover Pokemon is still catchable, it's still there, only a lot earlier, like you would expect, and you don't need to play Ruby and Sapphire to get the other Pokemon. because they are catchable later on in the game through a special event where the weather is going all odd and you need to go investigate that. So, yeah. Now, there isn't much to say about the gameplay in Pokemon Emerald, as it is pretty much the same as Ruby and Sapphire, with the inclusion of double battles in Gold and Silver, so there hasn't been many new inclusions into the gameplay aspect, as you still go around battling Pokemon, leveling them up, getting them to evolve, getting them stronger, make sure that you have enough gym badges to control them. If you've traded them, all those kind of things stay the same, although there have been new inclusions, including the Battle Frontier, which brings you into the more competitive style of battling, where the trainers are a lot harder and you battle through however many rounds to get to the Frontier Brain, in which you must battle them, which are incredibly difficult, and, well, sometimes, and you must defeat them to become the ultimate Pokemon master of the world, and things like that. So it's been made a little bit harder for people who perhaps thought the game was a bit too easy and wanted to get more of the competitive thing in the single-player game, rather than having to go online and things like that. So, yeah, the game has more harder aspects in it, but the gameplay itself is mostly the same, with just the battling aspects. And the types, I believe, has been split into a physical and special as types, instead of, you know, just all special or physical. But I don't think that's much different to Gen 2. I think they already had the physical special split, and in Gen 4 they introduced moves that are physical or special, but in Gen 3 they just had the types. So things like Ghost that you would normally expect to be special, like Shadow Ball, but they were actually physical in the game. So that might put a few of you people off. If you're like, oh, well, I really wanted that to be special. You have to go to Gen 4 for that. But it doesn't really interfere much in the actual game, and I'm sure you'll still have fun with it nonetheless. Now, the music in this game is incredible, which is, you know, kind of following suit for the other games, and the games after that. The music in Pokemon games is generally pretty awesome, and it really helps the game sort of portray the feelings you should be having at that particular moment, and especially the champion battle, where you should be like, whoa, this is it, this is the pinnacle of all stuff. And while I was disappointed that the real champion battle, the Battle with Steven, only had the music from, you know, the rival battles, it's not that big of a complaint, and the rival battle is still pretty cool, although I do think it could have done with some sort of upgrade of the champion music, or at least Gym Battle Elite 4, because that shows more importance than just your rival, because in Emerald, your rival was not as important as in, say, Red or Blue, Gold and Silver, and so on and so forth, because you only had a few battles with your rival, and they never really got anywhere in terms of battling. They just sort of, you know, traveled around the region trying to catch Pokemon, and it doesn't really feel like that kind of music would fit into the Steven part. But, you know, it's a minor complaint. The music in the game is incredible, and, you know, there's not really much to say about that apart from that. Now, receiving a massive upgrade from Gold and Silver in terms of graphics, it still wasn't the most pretty-looking thing at that time period, say 2004, 2005, even on the I think it was, yeah, the Game Boy Advance. It wasn't the prettiest thing ever, but it still had its own feel, and I really think they did a good job on the sprites and the animations and things like that, even though it's sort of copy and pasted from other games. But, however, the graphics aren't such a big deal in Pokemon games because they're sort of just handheld things. It's not meant to be the prettiest thing ever, but they do have their moments. Like when you're traveling up the lifts to Mount Pyre, that looks pretty cool, and the cutscenes with the Rayquaza were also very awesome. So I applaud them a lot. The graphics in the game weren't the best thing ever, but it's not really what you expect when you buy Pokemon games to have amazing graphics. You buy it for the gameplay and the story and leveling up your Pokemon and all that stuff. So I'll let it slide for now. Overall, I'm going to give Pokemon Emerald a 7.5 out of 10. Now, to some of you, that might seem a bit harsh, as most reviewers nowadays are giving a lot of games 9s and 10s, even if they have significant flaws in them. IGN. But, yeah, so I'm going to give it a 7.5 because I'm trying to be a little bit harsher than most critics would usually be, and that's not the only reason. It's because it's not really its own game. It's sort of just an upgraded version of Ruby and Sapphire, which brings it down a bit, and I don't know, there's something about the 3rd gen. I do love the 3rd gen, obviously, but it's not my favorite Pokemon generation, and yeah, so even though I enjoy playing Pokemon Emerald, and 7.5 is pretty good, I think, you know. So it got pluses for the music, the gameplay is still pretty good, it gets points taken off it, of course, because it's not its own game, and it's pretty much just the same as Ruby and Sapphire with some upgrades, but sold at the same price. So yeah, that's it. And if you have any criticism of this video, be sure to leave it in the comment section below. I would love some criticism. But thank you guys for watching anyway, and peace out.